What a beautiful pullback on the NASDAQ market. Check this out. QQQ is down just 1% on the day. Looks like markets were trying to make new highs. Saw retracement. They are looking a little bit on the oversold side. So for those that are shorting, please be very careful. Same thing with Tesla. Overvalued for no reason. This retracement was much needed. If you guys have not seen, based off of recent setup, this thing began to uptrend for the past 3 to 4 trading days. And again, markets have been selling off for the past few months. This is the part that kind of still surprises me, is that people think that with just 3 to 4 trading days, oh, that's the bottom of the market. The market's no longer going to sell off. And then again, they get reminded and humbled on days like this when the markets begin to retrace. Let's get one thing very clear. Do markets have to fully sell off and make new lows? Definitely not, right? Especially if things are not getting worse. But the thing that we're still trying to figure out right now is what's going on between China and the US. And based off of the most recent update, if you guys did not see this, it looks like, let me pull it up for you guys right here. Yeah, right here. So we got Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that it's up to China to de-escalate the trade tensions, India to be the first to sign the trade deal, which again, doesn't show to be showing signs of progress. If anything, like this is showing that there's still some form of uncertainty, which somewhat then justifies this retracement. A lot of people were scratching their head and asking why the markets were recovering if no trade deal was actually signed. Remember, this reminds me a lot of like what happened during COVID. When markets originally reacted to the all the COVID cases and the world shutting down, markets aggressively sold off. But then when we began to see that simply less cases of COVID began to present themselves, there were still a lot of cases of COVID, it just was a lot less. So as we were making progress, if you would call it that, in that sense, markets began to recover. It wasn't because COVID went away, it's that COVID cases weren't getting worse. And that's kind of what I think we're experiencing right now with this trade war and these series of tariffs, is that, well, as long as things are not getting worse, then technically they are getting better. Remember, the markets could only stay oversold for so long. And trust me, selfishly, I want markets to continue to sell off because I want to buy and invest in companies at a much cheaper price. Now, just because that's what I want doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen, and especially not with the way that things are looking. Markets have been quite bullish for the past 3 to 4 days. It shows how desperate and how eager the markets are to recover. But this is where you have to be very careful. When you see solid and quick recoveries that were incredibly bullish for no reason, it kind of really begins to encourage you to ask yourself is, okay, well, what is it going to take for then markets to sell off or continue to recover? So all I'm really looking for is that if there is some uncertainty with what was announced today, with Treasury Secretary saying that, well, it's up to China for them to de-escalate, that doesn't seem like certainty. That seems like uncertainty, which again then justifies this retracement that we have now seen with the market. This is the unfortunate part of what we're kind of experiencing right now, where it's not really based off of fundamentals when it comes down to the stock market, as a lot of these big tech companies are set to report earnings this week, with Microsoft, Meta on Thursday, and Amazon and Apple on, Microsoft and Meta on Wednesday, and Amazon and Apple on Thursday. As of right now, we'll see if markets begin to show signs of a support. There's a lot of previous support ranges on QQQ right around 465. So we'll see if markets do begin to bottom. So this is a great reminder for both the bulls and the bears. This is in no way any position or any place where I think either side should be extremely aggressive. This is just my opinion. You guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. There's still a lot of uncertainty, because what if there's a curveball that is thrown that says, well, no, China now is going to raise tariffs once again. Let's just say that that curveball does get announced. What do you think is going to happen to the market? Markets will drop. But again, if China comes to the table and now wants to de-escalate and actually sign and negotiate with the US, then what do we think that is going to happen? Markets will most likely rocket, right, and recover, because that uncertainty that we had is no longer there. We're making progress. So again, it's all based off of how these different people in these different countries react and begin to negotiate. I don't want to call it unfortunate, but it's uncertain. And that's why the markets are kind of consolidating and staying choppy. There's nothing wrong with having a position. If you want to go long, if you want to go short, it's all up to you. Just be mindful of your position size, because if we see a quick change of direction because of the two options that we just talked about right now, then you cannot be surprised. Do not put yourself in a position in which you simply cannot tolerate. I'll make sure that as I learn more about this developing story between China and US, I'll make sure I do my part in keeping you guys up to date. We had an amazing live trading session today with the LPP team. Again, I trade live with them every single morning. If you ever want to tune on in to these live sessions, all you literally have to do is click that second link in the description down below, and I'll see you at market open for our live session. So again, Tesla and the rest of the market are trying to show signs of a support. We'll see again if that buying pressure kicks back in, or if we continue to form lower lows and lower highs, therefore being in favor for the bears. So when in doubt, never be afraid to cash out. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.